YuGiOh as a card game has always been very good at telling a narrative through their cards, or even through multiple archetypes. In 2025, Konami has released a highly anticipated anime featuring one of the most beloved stories in YuGiOh, The Fallen of Albaz. It is an amazing product, and it's the best thing that Konami has done for YuGiOh this year, and it has also inspired me as a deck builder to create a fun challenge to celebrate this anime. Let's follow the narrative of the story and build a deck for each episode of the animated series using cards that appear in the episode itself and see how well they perform on masterduel. Let's get started! The Fallen and the Virtuous. Episode 1. Dogmatika Ecclesia, the Virtuous. Our story begins in the land of the Abyss. In its northern reaches lie the isolated Dogmatika nation, a holy land blessed with the divine power of the stigmata. Today, the nation held a sacred ceremony to bestow its greatest blessing upon a chosen figure. Inside the Dogmatika Cathedral, we see the towering Dogmatika Nexus, serving as a symbol for the Dogmatika nation. The leader of the church, Dogmatika Maximus, is giving his blessing to the hero of our story, Dogmatika Ecclesia, the Virtuous. Attending the ceremony are the loyal followers of Dogmatika, which include Dogmatika Ashian, Dogmatika Duel, the Iron Punch, Dogmatika Adin, the Enlightened, and last but not least, Dogmatika Fleur-de-Lis, the Knighted. After the ceremony, Ecclesia and Fleur-de-Lis have a heart-to-heart conversation about what it means to be the virtuous Vestal. Right then, a portal opened up in the sky. A massive dragon-like figure falling through the portal. It is Titanclad, the Ash Dragon. Fleur-de-Lis fly off to intercept this threat and swiftly defeated the dragon. As the dragon falls towards the city, Ecclesia hurried to help out, not knowing what danger awaits her. Behind the rubble of ash and smoke, a figure of a young boy appeared, the Fallen of Albaz. It seems like he was, in fact, the dragon that fell out of the portal. Trepidly, Ecclesia readied her weapon at the mysterious boy. And with that, the episode came to a conclusion. A nation deeply rooted in religion. A young girl struggled between compassion and duty. Will the appearance of this mysterious boy threaten the very foundation of the Dogmatika nation? And what of this mysterious stigmata at the center of our story? Next time, see the story unfold on the other side of the battlefield in Dogmatika Fleur-de-Lis, the Knighted. But first, let's build a deck to begin our adventure in the land of the Abyss. Since this episode is mostly self-contained inside the Dogmatika nation, our deck also features mostly Dogmatika cards, with only a copy of Fallen of Albaz. Out of all of the cards that appear in this episode, Ecclesia, Fleur-de-Lis, and Punishment are the standout cards that give this deck a foundation to build on, while Nadir Servant, Maximus, and Ashian serve as the supporting engine of the deck. The rest of the cards, though, are not great. Dogmatika Nation and Dogmatika Encounter basically does nothing, while Theo and Adin are just level 4 monsters that special summon themselves conditionally, which is not good enough. The best of these cards is the Dogmatika Nexus. It sometimes can be sneaky good to banish some extra monster from the opponent's graveyard, but it's still a dead card most of the time. Since this deck has almost no play at all, I think the best way to play this is to build a Go Second version with a lot of hand traps and board breakers, and hope that your Dogmatika engine gets you there. The extra deck have a lot of cards that serve as double duty: Antis, Moondragon, Varora, the Fossil cards, Wind Pegasus, and Aggregator. They can be great to power up your Nadir Servant or your Dogmatika Punishment, and they can be used for your board breakers like Super Poly or Ultimate Slayer. We even include some Go Second cards like Exeter Knight and Typhon. We are definitely leaning heavily towards board breakers to win us games. Let's see how the deck fare out on the Master Duel ladder.